Hey awesome people, welcome to another episode of So Addict. So I'm super excited about this week's video because I'm doing another DIY refashion video, and I think the last time I actually did this was when I uploaded the jeans to vest video. I think so, don't quote me on that. But if you haven't actually checked out that video, make sure to scroll down. I attached the link below at the bottom for you to check out that video, because I'm also working on some jeans in this video and transforming it into a skirt. Yes, I just keep hacking jeans. I don't know why, but it just seems to be my favorite thing to do. Anyway, back to this video. So this video is actually going to show you step-by-step tutorial of how I actually achieved my skirt look, and I think it came out really good. At least I like the way it came out. So I hope you guys' skirt actually comes out good as well, and feel free to even change anything along the lines or along the steps that you feel that is going to work for you and your jeans hack better. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. It was super fun for me to make, and obviously you guys can even see I'm having so much fun in my DIY refashion skirt, and it just feels good to not be able to just leave all that jeans in your closet doing nothing, when you could transform them, because obviously they just shrank too much because we put them in the dryer, or they don't fit us anymore because we just keep growing or something, you know? So you don't want to waste your pair of jeans. So make sure to actually transform them into something that you're gonna like. So if it's not the vest, make sure you try a skirt. So I really appreciate you guys being here on my channel. If this is your first time, thank you so much, and I welcome you to my channel. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, make sure to do so you can join the So Addicts family. Yeah, as you can see, we keep growing. So if you want to be part of the family, make sure to hit down that subscribe button so you could join us, and watch out for a tutorial video every week. So I'm gonna stop rambling now so we can get started with a tutorial. So we're gonna get started with our pair of pants. So you want to make sure to get a pair of pants that obviously you want to turn into a skirt. And the first thing we're gonna do is actually to fold our pants equally in half. Now we're doing this to make sure that we have the right length for a skirt. So I folded mine equally in half, and I actually went ahead and measured 18 inches, which is how long I wanted my skirt to be. If you wanted something a little more shorter, obviously you want to measure something a little shorter, or something a little longer, you just want to measure that longer as well. Now after doing this, we're just going to draw a straight line across from edge to edge. This gives us a nice straight line, so we're going to just cut along that line, making sure to shorten our pants. Now after cutting this, we're just going to save that piece of fabric, and now you technically have shorts. So at this point, if you want to stop and just love the way your pants are looking, you could go right ahead. But then to keep going into the skirt, now we're going to actually cut the front and the back separately. So I'm just cutting right in the middle, all the way to the crotch and all the way to the other side. So you want to do this to separate the front, technically also this front from the back. So now I'm cutting this open, separating the front from the back, and now we're just going to cut right up to our seam there by the zipper area on the front side, all the way up to the zipper area. So this is usually about like an inch and a half cut. So you want to make sure to cut that, and it's going to overlap something like this. So you also want to make sure to repeat the same step for the back as well. So we're just going to cut into that again about an inch and a half, maybe about 2 inches even long, and we're just going to cut that, and it's going to overlap like this. Now the next thing we're going to do is to figure out exactly how we're going to close up our skirt. So now technically, if you have a really short skirt, let's say a mini skirt, and it's somewhere around here, you do not need to do this step. All you got to do is just close up that V looking triangle thing. But if you do have a longer skirt and have this opening right here, we're just gonna fill up that space with that extra fabric that we put aside. So now I'm technically just pinning this down, making sure that that point is nice and crisp, and I'm also able to get a nice laying flat fabric. And now we're also going to do the same thing for the back as well. So I'm just doing this to make sure that everything is laying nice and flat, so when you sew it down, it's going to be able to give you that nice flat edge. So now we're just going to go right ahead and actually fill out that space in the middle. Now we're actually going to grab our excess pant leg fabric, and now this is actually going to go in the middle. So you get to choose your own design at this point. You could lay your fabric in a vertical or diagonal way. Now the diagonal way would be something like this, and you just layer that all the way to the bottom, but I choose to just go the vertical way. So now I'm just separating my pant leg, making sure that I have a wider piece of fabric to work with. I'm separating this so it gives me a wider piece, and now I'm actually just gonna place this right in the middle of that edge or that point. So I'm a little anal about this, so I try to make sure that that line is actually meeting at that section up there, so it's a nice straight line. So when you have this all laid out, we're just going to go right ahead and actually place our pinning that extra fabric and our front on lines together. So we're actually going to sew this on the sewing machine later on. So you just want to make sure to pin this down, making sure it's nice and flat. Also make sure to not catch your back, and we're actually going to sew in this direction. So after making sure this is done, I'm just going right ahead and actually trimming some fabric away, so I have some fabric to actually work with for the back. Now if you don't have enough fabric, you could also use the other pant leg as well, so you have enough fabric to work with. So we're pretty much going to do the same thing that we did for the front to the back as well. So I'm making sure that everything is laying nice and flat, but when it comes to the back, because of the raw seams at the back, I'm actually going to fold this over, which is folding it down like this, so I have a nice clean edge. I'm folding it about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm pinning this down, and this is what we're just going to use and sew in the sewing machine. So after folding this, I have a nice clean edge for my back, and I'm just going to sew this on the sewing machine. So you want to make sure to sew from the top all the way to the bottom, and of course that other side, just like we're going to do for the front. So after doing that, everything should look nice and flat. I have everything all sewn up. It should be a triangle looking thing, as you guys can see, and now we're just going to flip that, making sure that the left side is facing us, and we're just going to trim off all this extra fabric. So I have my pinking shears, which is obviously a lifesaver, but you can definitely just use any regular shears, but I love this so much. So I'm just using my pinking shears and actually trimming off all the extra fabric that we do not need inside the skirt, so it doesn't give that bulky look. So after trimming this, now we're just going to turn our skirt to the right sides out, and now we're actually just going to finish up the hem. So when I finish up the hem, I'm just going to fold my skirt into two, making sure that my side seams are actually matching up, and I also have my back matching up as well. And I'm just going to get a nice straight line going for my front and for my back. So a nice straight line would be me just taking my ruler, making sure that my line is kind of straight accordingly to the front and also to the back. So I'm just following the line of my actual skirt and making sure that I cut off all that extra fabric at the bottom of the additional piece that we added. So I'm just cutting off all that extra fabric, and then I have a nice straight line going across my hem. So opening this up, as you guys can see, it did give me this V looking sharp corner. So if you just want to make sure to round that off, taking your scissors and just creating a nice rounded hem. So doing that for the front. Of course, my back is a little bit more triangle looking, so you can just turn that over and kind of just create a nice curved hem for yourself. So I'm just going ahead and actually taking my tailor's chalk and just marking a nice curved hem for myself, and I'm just going to trim off all that extra fabric away. So you want to make sure to do this nice and slow, making sure to have a nice curved edge. So at this point, we're pretty much almost done with our skirt. And as you guys can see, I do have my back longer than my front. But if you don't like this style and you just want to make your front and back equally, you could just measure both of them the same length and definitely just cut off all that extra fabric. So the next thing we're going to do is actually add some fun eyelets to our skirt. So I decided to just embellish mine a little bit, you know, just to add a little bit of pizzazz. So I got these large eyelet kits, which come in the 1/4 of an inch size. And we're just going to place this around our skirt. So the next thing we want want to do is to actually find out where we're going to place our skirt. So I'm measuring mine about 4 inches apart. Now you can measure yours at any distance you want. You just want to make sure that the eyelets are kind of evenly distributed around your skirt. So there are 12 eyelets that come in the pack, so just figure out how you could distribute 12 eyelets around the skirt where they look kind of evenly distributed. So now that I've measured 4 inches apart, now we're just going to measure an inch up from the edge. So this is how far in our eyelets are going to go from the bottom of our skirt. So I'm just measuring an inch up from the edge of my skirt, making sure that I have those marks right there where my eyelets are going to go. So these are the points where the eyelets are going to go around the bottom of our skirt. So the tools we need for this section, of course, are a large eyelet, a hole puncher, and a hammer. So the hole puncher is actually meant for paper, but I use this to cut through fabric sometimes. So you just want to create a hole right there at that intersection, and this is going to allow us to prep for the actual eyelet. So just going into the eyelet kit that we have that I already bought. The eyelet kit actually comes with the black base, which is where we're going to be doing all the hammering, and then you have 2 sets of eyelets. Now one actually has a longer stem than the other. Now the longer stem actually goes into the fabric from the top, and then we're going to place that over the shorter stem, which is also on that base, and then we're actually going to take the anvil, which we're going to use that part that's actually shorter, and then we're going to turn this over and hit that with the hammer. So now this allows it to create a nice flush look. So you want to repeat the same step for all your holes. So again, I'm creating the hole, I'm taking the large longer stem of the eyelet and putting it on top of the shorter one, taking the anvil and just hitting that nice and clean. So you want to do this around your skirt. So after doing it, this is what you have. Everything is nice, neat, and flat all around the bottom of your skirt. Now the last but not the least is to actually fray the hem of your skirt to give it that natural, nice looking just look. So I do have my seam ripper, and of course you could just use your hand to just pull out all those threads, making sure it has that clean but rough / edgy looking look at the bottom of your skirt. And you just want to do this all around your skirt. Now after doing this, yours should look something like this. I went ahead and actually just created that edgy look at the bottom of my skirt. Now after doing this, you have created a pair of skirt out of some jeans. That is pretty much the end of the tutorial. As you guys can see, the process was super easy, super fun, super cute, super everything nice in the dictionary. And I hope you guys actually have fun with this tutorial. If you do this tutorial, please make sure to tag me in any of your photos on Instagram at DamiaDNikeX, and definitely scroll down, leave me a couple of words, comments if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you just even want to say hi, you know, shout out to Dami out here. I'm definitely reading those as well. Make sure to please give this video a big thumbs up so I can see if you guys actually enjoyed this tutorial. And if you have not hit the subscribe button yet, make sure to do so you can join our wonderful family that keeps growing, because you guys are super, super awesome. And I hope to catch you awesome sew addicts next week.